Greetings everyone, welcome back to the Sussex Ambassador channel. Today we're delving into a rather disconcerting topic, the blatant bias of the Lorraine TV show against Meghan Markle. This critique aims to shed light on the unfair treatment Meghan receives, in stark contrast to the applause showered on William and Kate's public relations stunts. So fasten your seatbelts as we embark on this journey of unveiling double standards. If you haven't already, kindly hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Let's get started. Today we're going to delve into the apparent bias of the Lorraine TV show against Meghan Markle. It's a topic that's been bubbling under the surface for quite some time, but recent events have brought it sharply into focus. We've seen the show's hosts, along with guests like Sonali Shah and Royal Russell, engaging in what can only be described as a one-sided critique of Meghan's work, while simultaneously lauding William and Kate's PR efforts. This bias became glaringly evident during a segment where they were supposed to discuss the day's biggest stories. Instead, it quickly devolved into an exercise in double standards. As they sang praises for William and Kate's latest PR stunt, Meghan's projects were met with nothing but negativity. It was as if they were living in a parallel universe where meaningful work was frowned upon, while empty gestures were celebrated. The message being sent by the Lorraine show is unequivocal. Meghan Markle, despite her significant contributions, isn't allowed to succeed without facing backlash. The show has set an arbitrary set of rules for Meghan, ones that William and Kate seemingly do not have to follow. It's a clear manifestation of bias, one that seems to be driven by jealousy and bitterness. But let's delve deeper into this issue to understand it better. We'll peel back the layers of this apparent bias, exposing it for what it truly is, a hit piece disguised as a discussion. It's undeniable that there's a glaring double standard when it comes to Meghan Markle on the Lorraine TV show. This double standard is clear as crystal, and it's disheartening to see. While Meghan's every move is dissected and criticized, her counterparts, William and Kate, are celebrated for far less. The Lorraine show seems to have a different measuring stick for Meghan, and it's one that's impossible to reach. Let's take a closer look. When William and Kate engage in carefully planned PR stunts, they're hailed as dedicated, hard-working royals. Their actions, regardless of how trivial or superficial, are applauded as groundbreaking achievements. Yet, when Meghan devotes her time and energy to meaningful projects, she's met with skepticism and hostility. It's as if Meghan is expected to follow an entirely different playbook. When she embarks on a project, suddenly there's a rulebook about what she should and shouldn't do. But when William and Kate stage a well-orchestrated performance for the cameras, they're lauded as paragons of royal duty. The hypocrisy is glaring, and it reeks of envy and bitterness. This bias isn't just noticeable, it's palpable. It's a clear message from the Lorraine show that Meghan isn't allowed to succeed without backlash. She's held to a different standard, one that's not applied to William and Kate. This isn't just about royal protocol or maintaining a certain image. It's about undermining Meghan's efforts, while propping up William and Kate. It's about refusing to acknowledge Meghan's meaningful work, while glorifying empty PR stunts. This isn't journalism. It's not fair reporting. It's a hit job disguised as commentary, another attempt to belittle Meghan while boosting the image of William and Kate, and the audience is seeing right through it. This unequal treatment is not just unfair, it's also harmful. It sends a message that no matter how hard Meghan works or how much good she does, she'll never be good enough for some. And that's a message we simply cannot stand for. Beyond the bias, there appears to be a hidden agenda in the Lorraine TV show's treatment of Meghan Markle. One can't help but wonder what fuels this relentless negativity. What could be the driving force behind such a persistent bias? Is it jealousy, bitterness, or a calculated attempt to undermine Meghan? Jealousy is a powerful emotion. It's a green-eyed monster that rears its ugly head when someone else's success seems to outshine our own. Could it be that Meghan's accomplishments, her ability to defy expectations and make a difference in the world, have sparked a sense of envy in those who judge her so harshly? Bitterness, too, can be a potent motivator. It can stem from a sense of personal slight, real or imagined. Perhaps there's a sense of resentment towards Meghan for stepping out of the prescribed royal mold, for daring to carve out her own path and refusing to conform to outdated norms. But let's also consider the possibility of a deliberate attempt to undermine Meghan. After all, by painting her in a negative light, it conveniently diverts attention away from the less glamorous aspects of other royal members' lives. It's a classic smoke and mirrors tactic, a PR sleight of hand. Regardless of the underlying reasons, one thing is clear. This isn't just about Meghan. This is about a systemic issue of bias and prejudice, a refusal to treat someone fairly simply because they don't fit into a preconceived box. It's a narrative that is all too familiar, not just in royal circles but in society at large. The agenda, whether intentional or not, is harmful and needs to be addressed. It's time to challenge this narrative, to question the motives behind it and to demand better. For Meghan, for all those who find themselves unfairly judged, and for the sake of integrity in media. After all, the world deserves more than just a one-sided story. It deserves the truth. This bias isn't just a matter of unfair treatment, it has a real impact on Meghan Markle and her work. Imagine, if you will, the countless hours of planning, the sleepless nights, the endless dedication poured into each project. Every initiative Meghan undertakes is a testament to her commitment to change, to making a difference. Yet the narrative spun by threatens to undermine these efforts. The constant barrage of skepticism, the relentless criticism, it isn't just damaging to Meghan's public image, but it also casts a shadow over her projects. These initiatives, designed to bring about positive change, are instead met with suspicion and doubt. It's like trying to plant seeds in a garden that's been tainted with poison. It's an uphill battle. Moreover, this bias doesn't just affect Meghan. It sends a dangerous message to the public. It says, if you're not part of the traditional establishment, if you dare to be different, you'll be met with hostility and scorn. It discourages innovation and stifles creativity. It fuels the fire of division and perpetuates an outdated status quo. But let's not forget the most significant impact of all, the emotional toll. Meghan is a human being, not a character in a soap opera. The stress, the anxiety, the pressure, it's enough to break even the strongest of spirits. And for what? A few cheap laughs on a morning talk show? We must remember that the media has a responsibility to report the truth, not to manipulate narratives for their own gain. It's time we hold them accountable for their actions. So let's not just sit back and let this bias continue unchallenged. Let's raise our voices. Let's demand better. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about Meghan. It's about fairness. It's about integrity. It's about respect. And when we strive for these values, when we demand better from our media, we're not just standing up for Meghan. We're standing up for ourselves, for our future, for a world where everyone is treated with the respect they deserve. It's high time we call out this bias for what it is and demand fair treatment for all. Before we wrap up, it's important to remember that this bias isn't isolated to the Lorraine TV show. It's a pervasive issue that permeates our media landscape, coloring the narratives we consume daily. It's a distorting lens that warps our perspective, often painting a skewed image of public figures, like Meghan Markle. Bias, particularly when it's as blatant as what we've discussed today, can have a profound impact. It can shape public opinion, influence perceptions, and even alter the course of someone's career. In Meghan's case, it's an uphill battle against an entrenched media machine that seems determined to undermine her at every turn. But it's not just about Meghan. This is about every individual who has been unfairly portrayed, every voice that has been silenced or distorted by bias. It's easy to accept what we see and hear at face value, but as thoughtful consumers of media, we must strive to see beyond the surface, to question, to probe, to scrutinize. We must seek out the truth, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. We must demand fairness, not just for Meghan, but for all. We need to recognize when a narrative is being manipulated, when a public figure is being unfairly targeted. We need to call out bias when we see it, to challenge these skewed narratives and demand better from our media outlets. We need to remember that behind every headline, every story, there's a human being with their own complexities and nuances. So next time you tune into the Lorraine show or any other media outlet, remember this conversation. Remember to look beyond the headlines, to question the narrative, and to seek the truth. Because in doing so, we can help to push back against bias and ensure a fairer, more balanced representation for all. Thank you for joining us today. Remember to subscribe, like, and share our videos. Your support means a lot to us here at Sussex Ambassador. Until next time, stay vigilant and fair-minded.